Hi everyone. Let's see the third busy waiting solution. So it is disabling interrupt. Disabling interrupt is basically a system process, or you can say it is a system call which is provided by the operating system of a particular computer. So it is a hardware mechanism. So it is very important to be noted. It is a hardware mechanism provided by operating system. Okay, and operating system should disable the interrupt so that no other process could enter into critical section. Okay, what I mean to say, let's say you have a critical section. Critical section means shared resources, and before this critical section we have entry section. So in entry section, basically we are disabling the interrupt by using operating system, and after the critical section we have exit section. In exit section we again enable the interrupts. Okay, we again enable the interrupts. So entry section contain disable interrupt and exit section contain enable interrupts. So this is entry and this is exit. Now what happened, let's say there are two processes which are trying to enter the critical section. If process P1 first enter the critical section, then after it crossing the line number 1, operating system should disable the interrupts. Based on the disabling interrupt, no other process could enter the critical section. So process P2, if process P2 tries to enter the critical section, it will not execute the line number 1 and it will fall in infinite loop due to the disabling interrupt property here. And process P1 could enter the critical section and it will use the shared resource, and after if process P1 execute their task, it will again come back to the critical section, and if it executes the line number 3rd, it is line number 1, line number 2, line number 3rd, then operating system should again enable the interrupt so that the process P2 can enter the critical section. So here one problem is that the operating system should involve in the synchronization mechanism technique. Okay, so definitely we have 4 primary requirements. We have 4 requirements. 2 is primary and 2 is secondary. So first primary requirement is mutual exclusion. So mutual exclusion is definitely provided because only one process can enter the critical section. So mutual exclusion is provided, no problem here. And what about the progress? Progress is also provided by the operating system here in a disabling interrupt mode. Means whenever one process enters the critical section, then no other process could enter the critical section due to mutual exclusion property. But process P1 does not affect the process P2 to enter the critical section. That's why here progress is definitely provided. Why? Because operating system should involve in that particular synchronization mechanism, and operating system should give the fair chance or fair chance to entering the critical section by any other process. Okay, so that's why progress is definitely provided by the operating system here. Next is secondary requirement. Secondary requirement is, one is bounded waiting and the other is architectural neutrality. So here architectural neutrality or portability is not provided because some operating system provide this interrupt to the user and some operating system does not provide the interrupt to the operating system. So definitely architectural neutrality or portability is not guaranteed here. And bounded waiting is also not guaranteed here, because if some process enter the critical section, then other process should wait to get their chance to enter into the critical section. But what happens if process P1 does not want to leave the critical section? Then other process should wait for their chance, and because of their waiting, bounded waiting here is also not guaranteed. Okay. So disabling interrupt is not a good solution because most of the operating system does not want the user have right to make a system call, and here interrupt is a system call. So operating system does not want to give the right of making a system call like interrupt, so that more context switching will be done. Okay, so because of system call, first we have to go to from user mode to system mode, then make a system call, and again from system mode to user mode. So it is a very hectic process. That's why this solution is not a good solution, or not a good approach to solve this synchronization problem. Okay, so that's all about disabling interrupt solution. In the next video we will see the next busy waiting solution.